Hello and welcome back everyone, it's Asher Postman. In this video we're doing a deep dive into my song Be With You, which is one of my personal favorites on the EP, so I'm super excited to show you guys all the little things that are going on, all the sound choices and musicality and the way that the track is built, you know the stuff. So I'm going to take you through my session in FL Studio and I hope you guys learned something from it. Don't forget to join my Discord server and download the acapella and some free samples from this song, and a great community of producers that you can become friends with and collab with, or whatever else you want to do. Make memes, I don't know. We make a lot of memes. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right guys, here's the session. Now quick disclaimer, this is the unmixed session. I always mix in a separate session. So it's not gonna sound exactly the way the recording does, but it's gonna be like, you'll get the idea. All right, let's give it a little play here.
Girl, I wanna see ya, 'cause you make me feel alright. But I got all of your pictures on mute.
So I wanted to keep this first verse super simple. I was really into Rhodes at the time, so I wanted to start with just a Rhodes sound. This is Rhodes from Keyscape, which I bounced to save CPU. And then I have a layer here. It's like a reverbed out sidechain layer, and those together sound pretty spacey. On top of that, I have this filtered loop, which is me beatboxing, I believe. Yes, it is me beatboxing. Just a bunch of compression, EQ that's carving out those frequencies. And then I have this snare layer as well, going into the same channel. So that's already created a vibe here. A little kick to start it off. Got these little SFX sounds to start it off. And then a little reverb vocal layer as well. These are two little vocal shots that I made from Annalise's voice. So the first verse is just those few layers, just the beatbox and the Rhodes. I had this cool little accident where I was bouncing the Rhodes and I accidentally bounced it with reverb one of the times. And so if you listen here, it switches to this like reverb sound, and I just kept it because it's just kind of unique and artistic. So that's like halfway through the verse. And this little transition before like things start elevating a tiny bit, I have these cool door sounds that I just took little pieces from and made this little like effects slide type thing. I don't even know what to call it. So that was a cool little moment that I liked, like when the music stops. So now going into the second part, I add a little bit of a respace. And then this single note guitar that's filtered. And then this pad comes in. Another sidechain reverb pad to kind of fill out that atmospheric space as well. I got this cool like note snare. And yeah, that's pretty much the only thing. I just wanted to add a tiny bit of extra stuff to keep the energy going. Yeah, and then we have that nice little like atmospheric, nostalgic sound, which is probably just some Omnisphere sound that I manipulated a little bit and made this MIDI. That just sounds really nostalgic to me. I really like that little thing that I added. As you can see, pretty much at the end of every section, there's like a one beat break in the music, and that's a pretty consistent thing that happens throughout the whole song. So now in the pre-chorus section, we have these drums that come in, a lot of percussion as I like to do, and loops and things like that. This is what it sounds like. Yeah. So we got that same loop that's been going through the verse, and then I added this Z tick sound. And then, honestly, I'm not sure what this is. It's something that I recorded. Yeah, I'm really curious actually what that is, but I like it. And then I have these other little filler sounds that kind of add extra percussionness to it. And this is just a bunch of stuff from different sample packs from this Ozone pack that I created with my friend recently. Then we got a snap that comes in along with the other snares. Oh, also the pre-kick. Yeah, and all that stuff together kind of brings a new section in, which I really like. And then on top of that, I think there's only a couple of new things. There's this little synth here. That's Serum. And then we have this bass pluck along with that and some effects stuff. And then that kind of just rises with these effects. So then we have another little beat break and then we're into the chorus. Okay, so now the chorus. The chorus is a very, very simple chorus, and that's something that I really wanted to achieve, which is often hard to do, but I spent a lot of time getting this to work. So the main thing is the electric guitars, which are sort of inspired by the kind of music that I grew up with a lot. I listened to a ton of Reliant K, and this is kind of the sound that it always had, and I really wanted to capture that into my modern song. So these are the original guitars from the original session. And then I also recorded bass from the original session. And then I recorded another set of guitars to thicken it out and make it a lot bigger. So all those together sound like this. Yeah, really big fan of that. Okay, so also there is some vocoders going on with the vocal here. I had them muted because they were mixed separately, but this is what they sound like. And the way I did that was 3 different vocoders. One of them was Vocodex, one of them was Vocal Synth, and one of them was Manipulator. And I recorded them all and then filtered them together. And along with the vocal, it ended up sounding like this.
Never gonna be with you. Sucks cause it might be true.
So that was a lot of fun. Between the vocals and the guitar, that was like just enough to make it be a chorus. And when I can get away with just a little bit like that, it's always really exciting for me. So then we go on to the second half of the chorus where it starts to build up. So we got this little sound here, just a little perk sound. We got a snare that starts to build up slowly, and a kick drum. And then another snare comes in as well at the end. There's this pad that comes in as well. This little synth guy, ambient guitar, low pass. And then we have these guitars. The bass was actually modulated to fit the vocal exactly. So every cadence of the vocal, the bass only goes in for that. And the way I did that was using Fruity Peak Controller to kind of to read the vocal volume going up and down. And then I routed the volume of the bass to that so that the bass follows the vocal with the volume. And then all together with the vocoder, it like makes a super full vocode sound. So that bass ends up sounding like this. And that's following the same thing as the vocal is. And then we have these little synth notes that come in that I've been liking to do in my choruses lately. Yeah, big fan of that. All right, so moving on to the drop. First, let's check out these drums. It's really simple. It's just drum, kick drum, and snare pretty much. And this was a snare that I took a long time on. It's like a bunch of samples mixed together. And they're all just kind of affected and compressed and reverbed and everything and turned into a pretty sick snare. Then we have this vocal thing, which is literally just me being like, and then adding a bunch of effects to it. First, we got a frequency splitter for kind of just splitting apart the high end, and then another splitter to make it wide, and then a chorus, which also makes it wide. I guess I wanted this to be really low, really wide. EQ, OTT, and then more manipulator, destructor, which is a distortion, making it super distorted, and then some more compression, EQ, reverb, OTT. Then I also have this like reverb tail that happens afterward that I recorded. And yeah, this sounded kind of unique to me as a vocal chop drop thing. So super happy with that. It also seems really emotional to me. It's just like, I don't know, it just hit. We have this perk that keeps going. Now moving down here, we have a bunch of chords that are holding the thing down. I had piano chords that were being modulated from the low pass filter. So it kind of makes a boom sound when you hit it every time. To match this synth. That's a Serum synth, and then we have this kind of sine wave sort of pad thing this other layer just to give it more thickness. And then I took the vocoder and split it up a little bit too. And together, that all sounds like this. I also wanted distortion to hit on every kick drum, so I recorded all of the instruments and distorted them so that that hits when the sidechain hits. So that by itself sounds like this. And mixed together, it kind of sounds like it's being really distorted whenever the kick hits. And of course, the guitar keeps on going through that. We got this really heavy bass. And yeah, all those together make a pretty nifty drop, I'd say. I also wanted it to be one of those drops that has some like big moments and then all of a sudden it like sucks into like a really quiet moment. So I have a lot of little ear candy that happens in between these little things. Like a little guitar note that hits. These two things together. They're just two loops that I did and kind of ended off things kind of cool. And yeah, goes right into the second verse. We got this nice little beat going on with a loop. Always gotta have the little perks in between. Little vocal thing that happens there. I have these notes that kind of hit in between beats. And then the fun part is this guitar here. Sounds like this. It's like heavily distorted. And then this thing, which is mimicking that. And then we have bass. And I also made this like low pass piano thing. And those things together made a cool vibe. And then what changes in the second part of that is I add this little pad here and then also a bass. Low pass, they sound really cool together. Then I made this little loop with my water bottle that I ended up being super stoked on. I like re-pitched it and kind of like auto-tuned it so it has a weird sound, and then I added some cool like reverb stuff and it ended up like filling a space in a really cool way to keep the verse moving. And then going back into this next pre, it's kind of the same stuff except I add the chords back in, the Rhodes chords, and then also all of this percussion and beat stuff. Cool. And then I added a nice little CPU crunch distortion sound, which made it perfect. One new thing in this pre-chorus is this little guitar part that mimics the other guitar in the first part of that verse, but it's more of a sustained acoustic guitar sound. That's the part that really hit emotionally for me. I really love this part of the song. I would love to play you all this together, but my CPU literally cannot handle it. So let's move on to the next section. Now we got chorus 2 where I add the bass right away in and then add a little bit of a snap. This thing right here. I really love that part as well. That's another one of those nostalgic sounds that really makes things sound great. So then we go to drop 2, which is basically the same thing. There might be a couple tiny little differences, but mostly it's the same thing. Then we go to this bridge, which is also really simple, and I was really proud of this bridge because I had this like huge vocal pad kind of thing with the vocoders and my own voice singing kind of like kind of stuff. There's like a single note, and then I recorded the same vocoder chain with that single note, but played it with the chords. And then on top of that, I have these chords mimicking the same thing. And then in my vocal recording project, I basically mimicked the same notes as the vocoder, but I sang it in real life. So it was a mix of electronic sounds and my own voice. This is what the vocal sounds like.
Oh, I should get over you, because the more I think it through, the less I think you.
So yeah, all that stuff together sounds like
Oh, I
this.
should get over you, because the more I think it through, the less I think you.
And then we go back into that like plucky synth and then the Rhodes chords. Then this final drop is the same chords and a lot of the same, pretty much all the same instruments as the other drops, but they're all completely sustained throughout all of the chords. And in the mixing project at the end, I added more sounds to really drive it. Usually what I do is I make the song basically all the way there in one project, and then I bounce all the stems and add the final touches and final mixing stuff. And then I added this new guitar part that I actually only had at the second half of that in the final recording, but this is what it sounds like. The sustained bass as well. And all of those things kind of made that climax huge, sustained kind of final statement sound. And then after that, we end off the song with just a nice like Rhodes thing. This is when I was creating this song. I was writing this and I just felt like it had such a special feel that I wanted the outro to just kind of like take forever to end. This wasn't one of those songs that I wanted to create for like optimizing for streams. I just wanted to like have it be an emotional expression of the way I felt and just like let it go wherever it wanted to be. So I was super happy with this song in general. It's one of my favorites, like I said, because it felt like it just came out of a really raw place of me, and I felt really creative when I was coming up with it, and I feel really proud of a lot of these sounds that I made. All right, so that's it for the breakdown of my song Be With You. Thank you guys for sticking around. I really hope you enjoyed seeing all the little details that went into the song. It's always fun for me to show you guys the little things that you might not notice in the master recording, but now you'll be able to pick up now that you've been able to see kind of some of the stuff that's going on in the session. We still got 2 songs left on the EP that I'm gonna break down and give away free stuff for, so be on the lookout for those next videos coming out soon. So once again, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for being interested in my music enough to watch these videos and support me. It means so much to me, seriously. Some of my songs have been getting on some playlists lately, which is super exciting given the fact that it's all independent. And you guys supporting my music and listening to it and watching my videos helps me a ton grow this brand as an artist, and I'm just super excited to see where things go, so thank you for being here early. Other than that, oh, if you're not already subscribed, dude, subscribe. It's not that hard. And that's it. So I'll see you next time. Peace.